Hey everybody, this is Jarrett Ross, the GeneaVlogger, and we're not going to go out that door. Oh wait, yes we are. You're parked in the driveway?
No, I'm parked across the street.
Okay. Should I drive or do you want to drive?
It doesn't matter. I don't have AC if that's a game changer.
Yeah, I'll drive. And this is vlog 11.
Trying to save some money to get a kayak.
Kayak?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Go out, feel some nature, get some inspiration, help write better songs, stuff like that. Get perspective.
Hanging out with Kenny, making myself a taco. So we had ourselves a good little lunch. Now we're gonna go to Big Lots because they have birch beer for 80 cents a bottle.
Trying to foreshadow what I'm gonna want later on.
So this is their health side. Not this side, the other side.
Yeah, I'm not really thinking health today. Thinking something goomy.
Oh, that's right. You always say goomy. All right, so I want you to tell people this, okay? Because this is a genealogy channel, and there's going to be a lot of people with experience with Germany.
Okay.
What is the way to say gummies? Or what's the way you say gummies
Gummy.
and why?
Because I grew up in Germany a long time ago.
Where in Germany?
Simbach Air Force Base.
Okay.
It's no longer there. This was like in the 80s. So I had goomies for the first time. That's what they call them. So now I'm weird because I call them goomies. Ooh, dude, they got Swedish fish for $1.
Yeah, Big Lots is cheap, man.
I just got to candy store heavy.
These are chocolate flavors.
I'm a big fan of red vines.
I like red vines too.
Red vines are the best. It's like I'm letting the fat get out.
You gotta get your goomies.
I gotta get my goomies. I think that lady drove by, saw your camera, and smiled and waved.
That's exactly what happened.
It's kind of weird.
I don't know. I'm a celebrity now. Now that I have a YouTube channel, I'm like well known.
All right, dude. Peace out, man.
All right, man.
I appreciate you having me over.
Dude, hell yeah.
That was fun.
I'll see you next weekend. Maybe.
Yeah, baby. Let me see what's going on.
All right, man. Drive safe.
Peace, dude.
So I was just hanging out with Kenny. He just headed on out. I woke up earlier today and I hit 50 subscribers, and I'm actually way over that now too, which is kind of crazy. Big shout out to Riley from Relative Surprises. He has his own channel where he talks about genealogy. He's only 9 years old, but he is awesome. So be sure to check out his channel. I'm gonna link him down below. So when I woke up earlier today, it was Twitter where I found out that I had hit 50 subscribers, and it was because of Riley, who had posted a picture with 50 and congratulated me. So thank you, Riley. And he suggested I should do a Q&A for this next vlog. So I'm gonna do a Q&A. So starting out, I'm gonna start with Riley's question actually. So Riley asks, how do you make your thumbnails and how do you edit your videos? The way that I edit my thumbnails, originally I started out using Adobe Photoshop. Then now I'm using Sketchbook Express. Both pretty good programs. I do like the Adobe Photoshop a bit better, and I'll probably be going back to that once I pay for the creative suite that they do for Adobe, but I just haven't done that yet, so I only did it while I had the weekly trial. And then for my videos, when I actually did the weekly trial, It was right around when I went to Florida, and so I didn't really do anything while I was in Florida, so I didn't really get to mess around with the Adobe Premiere. So all of my videos have been edited and done on iMovie, actually. Some of you may actually notice a lot of like the title screens, the typical title screens and stuff that iMovie has, if you're familiar with that. The next question comes from the Pro Ancestor 148, and they ask, have you taken a DNA test? Yes, I've taken a DNA test. I took my DNA test back in 2013. I tested with Family Tree DNA. I did what's called their full genome kit that comes with a mitochondrial full DNA test, so that tests all the available regions for mitochondrial DNA. I took the Family Finder test, which is the autosomal test, and I also took the Y67 test, which tests 67 markers on the Y chromosome. So I have a pretty good idea of my genetics. I'm planning actually to take some more DNA tests though. What are the best things when it comes to DNA, if you're trying to find matches and use this for genealogy research, is getting your feet in as many ponds as possible. And so, you know, that's why you should upload a GEDmatch. If you haven't done that, definitely upload a GEDmatch. And that's why you should try to test on multiple sites. And so I'm going to be taking tests probably with 23andMe and Ancestry. I'm going to do the autosomal. Probably going to do MyHeritage as well. That way I can get into all of them. And even better, I'm probably going to do some videos when I do the results so I can show people how the breakdown comes in. I've also got my parents to do a DNA test. I've used DNA to confirm a lot of the paper trail. In fact, when I got my results back from my parents, I called them up and told them, hey, I want to let you know you are my parents. So the next question comes from Ancestry Avenue 3. And they ask, how long have you been doing genealogy? I have been doing genealogy for a really long time. The first genealogy I really did was, I think I was probably about 12 or 13, and my cousin on my dad's side gave me a family tree software, probably like a really old version of Family Tree Maker. And I built up the tree with what I could, and this was right at the beginning of when my family got internet. So literally right around 2000 or so, the year 2000. And I just didn't really know how to do genealogy back then. I didn't really understand it. I didn't have anyone to ask. And that was around a time when there wasn't, you couldn't find everything on the internet. So I built up a tree on Family Tree Maker, and I remember it ending up that because I couldn't find anything, I just made up this whole family underneath me. I think I ended up tracing it down like 10 generations, coming up with all these stories and stuff. And then, you know, I lost interest. Then I kind of got interest again in high school around 2004 or so. I went on Ancestry.com, built a tree there. Then, you know, like most people with Ancestry, you do the free trial. And I was a kid, my parents weren't going to pay for it. And once I hit the free trial, that was it. So 2009 is when I really started doing it seriously. 2009 is when I found Genie.com. And I started to build trees using a lot of trees that were available online, which for those who are doing that, stop. You need to do original work. If you're going to add trees from the internet, make sure that they're sourced and check those sources. It's one of the biggest problems with trees on the internet is that people just copy stuff and it's incorrect. And I have done that, and I have learned my lesson and know not to do that, so I'm warning you. Anyway, back to the story. I was building trees on Genie.com using what was available on the internet, and I ended up finding a database for a cemetery for the Jews of Amsterdam. It's called Beth Chaim, and they had a database online which had the whole cemetery. It was pretty amazing. These cemetery cards were made by people who had gone through the archives of Amsterdam and used all of that information. So these cemetery cards had the parents' names, the wife's name, the wife's family's name, the kids' names. Sometimes it would even list if the kids were married. It would tell you where they were born. It would tell you sometimes what happened with the kids. Sometimes it may even tell you about the grandchildren. There's all kinds of notes on there. It was absolutely amazing documentation. And that's really what got me kickstarted into really loving genealogy was, going through these records and actually getting hits and starting to trace out lines in my family that previous generations hadn't traced before. Coming from a Sephardic family, find a lot of people with Sephardic ancestry are extremely interested in their ancestry. And a lot of people who don't have Sephardic ancestry are extremely interested in Sephardic ancestry. So there had been a lot of work done, and especially in my own family, but a lot of the work that I had seen as a kid growing up always focused on just a few lines. And to be able to trace out all these new lines was just amazing to me. And then I started to trace them forward. And I think within just a few weeks of first building my tree on Genie, that's when I started to find relatives where I was like, these people are alive. And I'd go onto Facebook and I would search for them, and I found them. So I started messaging a whole bunch of them, and that's how I started getting into contacting my living relatives. Within a month of starting to contact relatives, I'd contact so many and had been corresponding with so many that I built a family group on Facebook. And so this was, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now really has its roots in 2009. That's when I learned to do a lot of it. So the next question comes from Ancestry Alleyway, and they ask, do you have any recommendations for getting far back, 1600s or before? This is a really tough question. What it really comes down to is luck. And the reason why I say luck is just because you have to be lucky enough that these documents actually exist to trace back. Being that I descend from ancestors who lived in Amsterdam, I'm really lucky because the Dutch, and especially in Amsterdam, the records they have are extensive. Amsterdam archives are so extensive that you can actually use them to research areas outside of the Netherlands because they have letters and correspondence between people from all over the world. So you can literally go to the Amsterdam archives and read letters from people from Hamburg, from London, from Russia, from literally all over. That's kind of the number one thing, is just having that luck that the records exist. But the real thing it comes down to is the legwork. So for a lot of people, once you hit that wall of online documents, what's available through Ancestry.com, what's available through Family Search, you've got to start taking a step further. You have to start finding more particular databases, such as the database for the Bethlehem Cemetery in Amsterdam, where I first got started with genealogy. That database was online, and that was able to allow me to take the research a whole step further. There's a step further than that, and that's doing the legwork to go in person to archives. There's really nothing like going to the actual repositories, whether it be the basement of a church, county courthouse, any sort of place. Records can be held anywhere. And what you need to do in your research is to seek these places out. This is one of the reasons why people say if you're doing genealogy research, the best way to do it is to go to the areas that you're researching. When you talk to the people who live there, talk to the people who run the records, who do the archives, they're going to know where to look for what you're looking for. If you're searching for an ancestor who was born in the 1800s in a specific area in Germany, and you have no idea how to break through that brick wall, you need to start looking into the genealogy resources of that area in Germany. You need to start reaching out to other researchers who've spent time researching that area, and you should also be seeking out areas that are connected to the area you're researching. So towns that are nearby, trade routes, anything like that. There are a lot of other tricks you can do to try to get back to the 1600s. I could probably spend a whole hour going through all of that, but that's one of the reasons why I'm going to do my quick tip videos. So the next quick tip will probably be related to this. So that's all the questions I got for now. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Big shout out to all of my subscribers, and if you'd like to become one of those subscribers, you can click right about here. Please be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at GeneaVlogger. I am the GeneaVlogger. I'm out.